Sweet.
Alright, so because we're amateurs and idiots, we forgot to actually record audio last time.
We might have hit the mute button and then just let it stay that way for a while.
For 2 hours while we recorded. Ton of stuff.
Is that bar in the middle always there?
It is sometimes. I think it's the new Elgato thing. Doesn't. When we spin the camera real fast,
It doesn't like processing.
It had the
that?
same problem on Pokemon, I noticed.
Oh, I haven't noticed.
So, yeah. So right now we see Kenny dodging.
Most of this video will in fact be Kenny playing the game
Because Ty and Alex have been playing God of War and it's thrown off all our controls.
I haven't been playing this game recently though either.
Yeah, but we've been actively unlearning the controls for God of War.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but I pulled a Ty and stupidly broke someone's guard and then walked away. Like, I'm sure he'll sort himself out.
Well, they always do, so...
They do not always.
Yeah, they do. They always sort themselves out, or me out, or...
Yeah,
they always sort something out.
They usually kill you.
Someone
Usually. I was getting pretty good before I started God of War.
Before you took that arrow to the knee.
Yeah.
Ow. Turn around, Kenny.
Yeah.
You idiot. There we
This
go.
feels like watching film for a football game or something. Like, so how can we improve?
Yeah.
Where's the holes in their defense?
Yeah.
Where's the
So-
comedy in here?
What we've got is we just suck at this game.
Yeah, well...
But we all knew that.
Yeah, how many parts are we in there? We knew from the first part.
From the I Play Sekiro.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, man. No.
If you haven't seen that, it's a pretty good short.
It is a good short. I wish we had, like...
I say humbly, I didn't actually edit that one, so I can say that.
Yeah. I just wish we had intelligible dialogue at that point.
Yeah.
Like, our audio was so bad the first, 2 episodes or something
It's
like
been
that?
bad the first 7. The first 5.
Yeah, it's still not good.
So I figured out that we can separate it and then, I do, 200% audio.
Oh, and it works a
just,
lot.
enhance it
Mhm.
a ton, and then it works a little bit better.
Sweet. Thank you.
The problem I have is I'll edit it with headphones on, and with headphones it sounds great, but the moment I listen to it without headphones, it's really quiet.
Yeah.
So that's on me.
That's a absolutely behind the scenes look at it for anybody who's not going to watch this video.
By the way, Ty and I do the editing. I started out doing the editing, and Ty's helped with a lot of it.
Yeah.
And neither of us knew what we were doing when we started.
Picking it up, I'm probably going to download, it's called DaVinci, whatever,
Oh, yeah?
and use that to edit.
Okay.
Apparently that's what they edited Deadpool with, so...
I've been using Blender.
And it's free, so I was like...
Yeah, so is mine.
Because the stuff I have is like Clipchamp and Video Editor for Windows, and it's really getting on my nerves.
I've got iMovie.
Well, I've heard that's pretty good, actually. So,
Oh, ain't that something?
so if you
I
would
mean,
edit
considering
stuff,
the only
you
selling
could
point
use
of
it.
iPhones is
There
their
you go.
camera.
I mean, yeah.
The camera's good. I do like them. I'm not gonna lie. The main selling point of Apple in general is the fact that the user interface is so distinct, and it's actually well put together compared to almost everything else.
It's pretty slick.
Almost
But-
all Android and Samsung stuff and junk like that is the selling point for people who know what they're doing is you can make your own user interface. We have no idea how to do it, but probably you do. It's like, well, why don't you just hire me to do it? Apple, at the very least, cuts the middleman out, and you don't have to set up your phone from absolute scratch.
I still remember because I had a friend in high school who bragged about his Apple products and just claimed they were superior.
Mhm.
We went to community college together.
Yeah.
And as we're sitting back there, he's like, "Hey, Alex, you have a Windows computer, right?" I said, "Yep." He's like, "Can you jailbreak my iPhone for me?" Well, you just defeated your own argument.
Yeah, that's a rough thing to come back from. Ugh. Looks like a Christmas turkey.
Why
said
are you
that last
focusing?
time.
Oh, you're
Oh,
focusing on
Or
her
something
playing
like that.
Yeah, I think I was looking at
You were
his,
making some joke about it. You're like, oh, look at his legs.
I think I was looking at his pelvic girdle right there.
Yeah.
It's freaky looking.
Couldn't tell you. We don't have the audio.
We don't have it either, by
And
the way.
I'm
since
not
we're
good at
old
lip
now.
reading either.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not...
Especially on our Walmart
I haven't taken
camera.
a freaking seminar on lip
Honestly,
reading.
I'm surprised at how good the lighting is considering the Walmart camera, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
First
not
time I've gotten a
terrible.
really close look at the
Surprisingly
camera.
okay.
I've never seen our visages this large. We have it streaming onto a TV, and so we can actually see ourselves.
Yeah.
It's
It's wild.
A very large TV,
My hair looks
all things considered.
mediocre.
It's a nice TV. It was like for more than half off.
It's the nicest TV I've ever used, so, you know.
Hey, me too.
Yeah,
Actually, my
maybe.
parents is nicer, but... Or, no, my parents isn't. My in-laws are, though. They've got the nicest everything.
Yeah, aren't they...
Super rich.
Yeah.
They're not rich, but they're certainly wealthy.
You could afford me.
They're upper middle class, emphasis on the upper.
For the
Emphasis on the
area,
class.
emphasis on the upper, yes.
By the way,
They've got class.
we're from Idaho, or we currently live in Idaho, so it's considered upper middle class here is lower
Alex,
class in Seattle.
Is I believe
Disowned his own
55,000.
state.
Yeah,
Wow.
55,000 a year is pretty dang
Where's
good.
your loyalty to your state, Alex? You've given it up for Idaho. They're clearly superior state.
You're like,
Have I ever argued that point?
No, you haven't.
and bye.
That's still fun.
It'll never get
The
old for me.
almost stopping himself before just plummeting.
I'm excited for the next one that's hovering in the danger zone.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
wondering when we get to that.
Spoiler alert.
It's great.
Yeah, spoilers for the video you're currently watching.
Well, because the thing is that I don't notice it until the character model has completely slid off screen. I'm like, oh no! Wait, hold up! I wanted to keep looking at that. There we go. But
The line that keeps randomly passing through reminds me of the old SNES occasionally, like with the TVs.
yeah,
With those lines going up and
Yes,
down as it
yes.
refreshed.
It's pretty
when you had
rough.
like an old CRT or something like
Yeah.
that,
I don't know how to fix this, except like get rich and get a better stuff.
you spend
So
$300, but
If
That
you
sucks.
want us to fix this, subscribe so we can be monetized, so we can afford better equipment.
We only need 1,000 of you.
see, it's literally not
Join
worth it
us.
for us to make a Patreon.
And together we will rule the galaxy.
Or at the very least, we'll be able to pay for our bread.
Bread.
Yeah.
Or, theoretically, none of us ever have to work at Walmart ever again.
I mean, I'm not planning on that.
Walmart
anyways.
won't hire me, so I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry, you have like a criminal record?
No, they just never respond. They're like, here, we'll hire you for the worst job ever. And then I was like, so could I start like 2 weeks later? And they're like, no. And so I quit.
Wait, what was the worst job ever?
It was like overnight moving stuff so that they can remodel.
No,
Oh,
that-
yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
remember
It's just
that.
garbage.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
they were offering you like 16 an hour. It was
yeah, or
actually
something.
really
It was
good.
like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then
Again,
I was
we
like,
live in Idaho.
so like,
really good.
I have classes for like 2 more weeks. Could I wait for 2 weeks and then start? And she's like, no, we kind of need you to start now. And I was like, well, okay, then I'm done.
She's like, we do pretty much what the Russians do when they fight other people, just throw bodies. That's all we do. Also, I totally missed that Force thing. Man, I'm not going to go all the way back here.
And that's the story of how I was employed for $20 worth of Walmart time.
which is an hour and a half.
Yeah, just
Hey!
orientation, which took a bit longer than an hour and a half, I think. So,
Yeah.
however long they felt like paying me.
It's okay. When I went through orientation, because I was working in the pharmacy, they were just like, here's all of this information about if you worked anywhere besides the pharmacy. And I'm like, okay, but what about the pharmacy?
Like, we don't know anything
We have
about
no
that.
idea. That is straight up what they told
Actually,
me.
trade secret. We don't know anything.
They're like, we are just going to have you start working there. And I'm like, well, at least that's better than, me sitting here with my thumb on my butt. Which is what I currently have been doing for the last 4 hours. Been waiting.
That's a very odd thing to do in public, Kenny.
Ah, well.
It is Kenny we're talking about.
I mean, yeah, that's right.
It's not the weirdest things happen to me.
It's a goat.
Oh my gosh.
Dodge. Wow,
I
you did.
cannot believe I dodged that.
Very impressive.
I know. There was no lag on the controller, because you can see because I was doing well. If I wasn't doing well, of course there would be
Kenny
lag.
likes to blame things on.
It's only ever the lag in the controller, you see.
Sure.
It's a good thing he doesn't play League of Legends.
Yeah. You'd be like, there's lag!
I don't, because there's always lag on the controller when I
I'd be
play games
screaming at
against
our-
other
At
people.
our old roommate who plays League of Legends.
That's just a crappy game. I don't like
Like,
League of
oh
Legends.
my gosh.
Or at the very least, even if it's not crappy, it's certainly not my speed.
You're a monster.
It's not a.
I almost see your mate.
I mean, it's not a bad game. I
But
enjoyed
like
it. But talk about a fandom just making it bad.
Oh, okay.
All Nintendo products beg to differ. They're like, nah, we could do worse. With worse fandoms and better games.
League of Legends is more toxic than 2013 Halo.
Ooh, I don't know.
Deep cut.
Yeah.
Come on,
Let us
come on,
know if
get
you
it,
were
get
around
it.
during 2013.
This
Wait,
is
hold
where
on.
the game could have
And then suddenly it just pulls me off.
Well, it's because the logic programming of the game could decide if he was up or not.
And so I got too close to the vortex, and so it was just like, "Come here, child."
And you go with us.
And yeah,
Ooh.
stupid things.
Freaking hanging there like Shaggy does in every episode of Scooby-Doo.
Like,
He's like,
zoinks!
zoinks! And then like sprints back onto land.
Yeah, with the
However that works.
Can we
I love
appreciate how slick that moss is to allow you to slide like that?
Heck yeah.
Pretty
Can you
awesome.
imagine if one spot of it wasn't covered in water? Just catches your leg, slams your head on the ground, you fall off to the side. And thus ended the
That's
tale
how
of
Cal
Cal
Kestis.
Kestis, the true Jedi Knight.
Just laying there with a broken femur.
It's like, that, thus my life ended tragically.
Then who are you, Dad? As you're telling the story to your child.
Anyway, that's the story of
know.
how I met your mother.
And she found me at the bottom of a cavern.
Oh. There we go.
Looks like you were singing the same song.
Oh, I'm sure. I've only got about 3 jokes, and if I like Frankenstein them together, then I technically can get 9. There we go.
That's not how probably no, because you have 3 times 2 times 1, so it's technically only 6.
3 times 2 times 1.
That's how the chances are when you calculate the possibilities
Oh,
and
because you
probabilities.
factor
Oh, you
Because-
do the exclamation point thing.
Oh my gosh.
I know, man.
Because once you use one joke, then you only have 2 left.
It's on 2.
No, because
It's
you've
either
got...
gonna be your wife or Hunter. I'm not sure which.
It's Healy, actually. You're wrong.
Oh,
Wow.
she's back.
Yeah. Voldemort's back.
It's critical
morning.
hacking.
It is not even close.
You
to
just
morning.
died. You're lame.
Of course
No,
I
I'm just
died.
kidding.
I die in this game all the time.
I said that like last time too.
We forgot to record. We forgot to roll audio, so now we have to retroactively make audio.
Yeah,
Hooray!
We're doing
So
a
watching
Batman's
us back
voiceover.
silently because there's no audio.
Yep, no problem. That was just us explaining to Keely what we're doing because usually we have a control in our hand when she comes in when we're recording.
Yeah. Now we just look like buffoons.
Now it looks like we're watching
Now
someone
we
else.
did.
But we all made the same joke in a slightly different way.
I'd just like to say that
You just got bullied.
this hurts.
Everybody hurts. Let's put your head against the wall, Cal. Here we
You
go.
do this in the worst way possible.
Oh yeah.
I know, but then the thing is all the way back, you and I just died multiple times.
Oh, absolutely. There we go.
I mean, yeah,
Smash the
like-
priceless
I
pottery.
said it was gonna break.
I was right still.
Aren't we all?
The comic book.
Good. Should.
She did it again?
No, there's one. Nothing is. The bag was breaking.
We forgot to record audio last time, so we have to do Babbage voiceover.
Except less soothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can only hope so.
No, we don't have nice beards.
Yeah,
I stand by what I said. Sorry.
Still don't have a nice
Not
beard.
gonna take back.
It's kind of scruffy right now.
I know, that's because I haven't cared because I have to shave it off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oof, I
You want
forgot.
some
I have to leave music tomorrow.
You have to become Babyface Nelson.
Yes, I
my
do.
dad said to do this.
Not Babyface Nelson!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh. Well, not all of them.
My name's George Nelson.
It's like
I'm
one of the-
10 feet high.
It's one of the only things that I've ever seen George Clooney in that I like.
That's mine. Isn't that your pencil sharpener thing?
10 and a half feet tall.
No, it's the.
Breaking all the pottery.
Check.
My name's Link, and
My
I'm the
heart
hero of
would have been
Hyrule.
sad. Not the Pepsi.
No, the gumdrop button.
Did you tell Kenny?
married to him.
He was here when I was. Oh, okay. So you told Kenny before me.
No, Kenny happened to hear me talking to Aaron upstairs.
Alright. Fine.
Is there another wedding we have to go to?
Oh, gosh, dude.
Boy. I don't know. Hunter either is getting married to my wife, or she's getting married to my mother, or to one of my sisters. This is... Those are the options.
That was the
Oh.
I remember that. We made fun of you for that
Yeah,
one.
'cause you suck.
I love that all of us just immediately point to the
job.
screen. There we go. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Didn't I? Yeah, yeah.
And then they start shooting at you.
Well, yeah, and I pushed the guy off the cliff again. Oh.
Dude. Now they start shooting at you. Because you suck.
Because Kenny can't make a jump.
Kenny's like the white LeBron James.
What?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't that just be Shaquille O'Neal?
No.
Shaq is too good for that joke.
He
At
can't
what?
jump though.
but he's awesome.
Okay, that's at the same time, you can't blame Shaq for that. Do you know how much mass Shaq has to lift off the ground?
A lot.
If he wants to do anything?
He's like 10 feet tall, dude.
That dude's made of like 4 of me.
Well, at least.
Oh boy.
Yes.
I love it when any piece of
Fall
entertainment is like,
Calcestus.
what if we cut the frame rate
Die.
by 5 times, maybe? Just cut every 4 frames in there. And it'll be artistic instead of, you know,
You
it'll be
can see
terrible.
the clear line on the screen when you're recording.
He looks very zen. Oh boy. You look very zen about that.
Yeah.
Because the Force memories are coming back.
Go to Paul.
Do you think
He's like,
that?
flashback.
Alright, I mean something.
Clearly. Bye forever.
Bye, kitty.
So nice knowing you.
Oh, your milk, please.
So,
Oh shoot.
Alright. Should I just pause this, guys?
No, we're gonna come right back.
It looks like it's just you and me.
We have you can take Tiny Kitty's spot on the couch.
Why'd you put it down sideways?
I don't know, 'cause that's fine sometimes.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
you
they are pausing. Evidently, we are pausing it.
Okay, but I just want one instance where a Jedi is like trying to use his lightsaber and it's not working, and he looks in the emitter and it goes off. I just want one instance of something that stupid going down, you know?
The equivalent of not unplugging the machine before you work on it.
Yep. Forgetting that there's a whole lot of electricity going on in that car, and you probably should have just unclicked the freaking
Oh, I'm just talking because my dad used to work at a lumber mill, and the
Oh.
amount of people that lost arms and things like that,
Oh.
or just any heavy machinery.
You
You just really bad.
How many times
You
did I
get
fall?
desensitized and
Yeah.
lax.
Yeah, because you're like, I know what I'm doing, as your hand is
You've
currently
done
being
it
chewed.
like 400 times, and then you mess up once and you lose your arm.
Or life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know, when you first start riding a motorcycle at like 80 miles an hour, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's going fast. I can feel like how powerful the engine is, you know,
Yeah.
not to push me this fast and this hard.
On your motorcycle?
Yeah, even on mine. But then, like, by the 500th time, you're just like, yeah, it's not a problem. And then something happens that makes you, like, swerve or something, and you feel, like, the force of trying to move, and you're like, oh, shoot, like,
Or if you have
I
to
would be a spatter mark on the
or
ground.
if you have to brake quickly.
Yup.
So fun story, when I moved over to Idaho, the rear brake on my motorcycle went out around Seattle.
Oh.
Just after Seattle.
At least
So-
there's the rear.
3 hours into a 14-hour trip, I had no rear brake. And going through that pass that you just recently went through, someone slammed on their brakes, and I just like, wasn't stopping fast enough, so I had to swerve into the right lane, where I stopped right behind the semi. I was like,
gosh.
oh god. And by the way, this is a 1980 Golden, so big, heavy bike with brakes anyways.
You just were completely silent the entire time, and then you put your kickstand down, you walk over, you take off your helmet, and it's like,
No, that was not that was a reminder to always have an out, because you can't always brake on time on a motorcycle.
Yep.
Like, have a place to swerve, even if it's splitting traffic.
My
Yeah.
default assumption is that I'm not going to be able to brake in time, and so I'm always like, okay, am I close enough to? I'm usually in like slot 1 or 3 to be able to dip out. The issue is when you've got you're sandwiched between 2 semis, and you're on a small motorcycle, and they're just like thrumming around you, and it's super windy, and so all of that draft is smashing into you. You're just like, I am very small, I'm very fragile, and I'm very breakable. Could somebody please?
No, you one time
Remember
about
me.
the pulling over and taking breaths of air, just being thankful for alive. I was about a 3-hour trip to go visit my dad's family from where I was currently living, and it was a really windy day, and I forgot the route took me past a bunch of farmers' fields. So after hitting sections where I couldn't see more than 10 feet in front of me, and just hoping I could see the brake lights in time of the car ahead of me, while riding at an angle, after getting through 3 sections, it took me an hour to go like 30 miles.
Oh dear heaven.
Stopped at, one of the crappy small town motels that doesn't even have a TV.
Yeah.
Got a room for $50 that night. Woke up the next morning, went right back to my dorm.
Give me that
Because
again.
I was planning on going to a friend's wedding, and the wedding was about 45 minutes from my dad's family. It's like, sweet, go to the wedding, go spend time with the family, not a big deal.
Mhm.
Until I get 30 minutes in, through 3 dust clouds where I can't see in front of
Yep.
me. I'm like, it is not worth my life to go to this wedding.
Yeah.
Dude, I get that. I once was driving, so I was dating my wife at the time, and this was like, what, second semester? So you and I knew each other. Alex had not entered the picture yet.
Yeah, right.
And my wife's college was about 75, 80 miles down the freeway, and it's like an hour and 15-minute drive. And of course,
It'd be a little more than that.
something like that.
Yeah, 75 it is.
Something like that. But
It's like an hour and a half.
yeah, it
Depends on
sucks.
how fast you're going.
Yeah, and I was driving Lucille,
Yeah.
my old beat-up minivan, and I was driving it in the dead of night most of the time. I was absolutely missing curfew. But so I would be driving
Was that
back.
second semester or first?
I
I think that
It
was
was like first
from the-
semester. We like never saw you, dude.
Yeah.
I think from the stories you told me, it was first.
Yeah, I was probably first.
Because also because
it was
Becca
like
didn't
fall
go.
semester.
She transferred to your college fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we
they
saw him a
had-
bit more like the winter semester, and then she transferred up.
Yeah, which made things way easier. This one I just got bad luck on.
Well, you kept
shellacked.
trying to.
And to sure to
You
promote
kept trying to heal before you made space.
Yeah. And I just was
It's
stupid.
okay. Ty and I do really bad after this.
I got another chance at the
I'm
same
just
time.
like,
Yeah.
I haven't been playing any of this game, and I've been playing every game that has different controls.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, I did not realize that so
Yeah.
many games can be slightly different in their usage.
Yep.
It just completely messed me up. But, no, so I was driving during a snow, like a blizzard, at 2:30 in the morning, 1 in the morning, something like that. Completely dark, pitch black, middle of winter, and where we live is terrible in terms of winters. And so, just everything is so dark that you can't see anything during the night, and because we live in a relatively rural area, there's not a lot of streetlights. That's weird.
There's
Not a
no
lot of
streetlights on
streetlights
the
or
interstate
anything.
at all.
Yeah,
Hardly.
it's terrible. And so, the blizzard was going strong. I was in an old 2002 Honda Odyssey that has very, very dull lights.
And
And
at
it
least
had
it
a
was
wheelchair
front-wheel
lift in the
drive.
back.
Yeah.
At least it had front wheel drive.
Yes, it did have front-wheel drive, so I was fine.
And like a 1,000-pound wheelchair lift in the back.
But I had to go about 20 to 25 miles an hour on the freeway in order to, like, I couldn't see anything in front of me from the snow as well as the, just the darkness and how crappy my lights were. But at the very least, I could see, like, maybe a foot in front of me when I was going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Anything faster, then I would have just hit somebody and we would have been shit. Everybody's peeled off to the side of the road and sleeping in their cars, except for a couple of semis who are deciding to brave it, and of course idiots in like Ford F-450 trucks, like the biggest trucks they can find, and just plowing through at 70 miles an hour thinking that they're invincible. And so one of them roars behind me, and so I have to quickly pull off to the side, and by pull off I mean just let gravity slide me across the road into the ditch to the side, and just had him bullet past me, and I watched him just absolutely turf it into the snow to the right, and I'm like, holy crap!
Now, would that have
Freaked
been
me
the
out.
winter of 2018, 2019 by chance?
2019, yeah.
Because
So
my
then,
first
like,
my first winter here, New Year's, I went to go visit my dad's family again, 3 hours away. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, whatever. It was so cold and snowy that night that my defrost wasn't hot enough.
Yep.
So I'd have to stop every 30 minutes to scrape ice off the top of my windshield.
And you're just leaning over going, I've been there
And
before.
stupidly is I decided to take the back roads because technically it's shorter mileage-wise, and I didn't want to deal with big trucks being idiots.
So you found out what's wrong with taking the back street?
Actually, it wasn't that bad. They kept it because it's still a semi-route,
Yeah.
so they kept it fairly clear. Hunter thought it was
Took a
funny.
long
Hunter
time.
just figured it out.
What's wrong with taking the back street? I get it.
A drive that usually takes me 3 hours because I just have to go half the speed limit the whole time took me
Yeah.
like 5 to 6 hours in a 95 Civic with a heater that couldn't keep the window
Yup.
frozen.
Dude, my brother nearly lost his mind when,
What?
during
Did I
that
cancel
trip.
chicken? No, I'm just kidding.
He's like, this chicken's only 2 days old. I don't know why everyone wants me to throw it away.
I'm sorry.
Like,
It-
Joseph,
maybe-
it was
right.
cooked 2 days ago.
Maybe it's the mayo that was on the chicken.
It's the cheeseburger.
It was
Yeah.
the cheeseburger that was
No,
burnt.
he's also done that with chicken before. He also once brought to
He did that with chicken
a water
over-
park in Utah.
At your wedding, dude.
He brought chicken.
He brought, like, chicken.
He brought a cheeseburger
Yeah.
that was like 2 or 3 days
He's like,
old.
it's marinated.
Yeah, the
From
last
McDonald's.
time. The last time we were at your
Sips of
house.
the juices.
That's what happened. Is he was like,
Pulled
Like,
from
brought
an
"Can we
some
bring
home,
that
like,
chicken
your sister
home?" And I'm
drove
like,
him home.
"No."
Dude,
Just had it.
I don't
Oh,
get
this is
it.
where you just get absolutely murked.
Yeah. Well, because you get shot in the back, right?
No, because he's sprinting.
Yeah. Oh, that one killed him.
What were you actually saying? When he lost his mind.
Oh, he lost his mind when I was driving back. Because at the time, my brother and I were roommates. Well, and Tom.
Yeah.
And
And
like
me.
6 other people.
Yeah.
7 other people.
It was a crappy apartment.
But
It was cheap.
yeah, it was $285 a month, man. Literally have never seen anybody that cheap before or since. But no, he was super upset. He's just like, why on earth are you out in the middle of a blizzard at like? Because it took normally like an hour and 20 minutes or so to get from our college to hers, and it took me 3 or 4 hours, three and a half, something like that, of just like driving super like these semis keep blowing past me, these giant trucks keep blowing past me, and then I watch them turf it, and I'm just sitting there like I'm lucky to be alive. But they noticed me, and then like one 18-wheeler pulled up to the left lane of me, and he flipped on his brights to shoot off in different directions as mine like bullet straight ahead. And so he and I both like used each other's lights to guide the way for I'm pretty sure the vast majority of the trip. The two of us were like pulled up, and so we got like a line behind us of people, and we're like, "Look, we can see
We
the
will
way.
lead the way."
Let Rudolph go." Like it's 2 Rudolphs.
Yeah. That might have been one of the days where JD and I were just like sitting up talking until like 2 in the morning, and then he's like, Where's Kenny? And so he like calls you and he's like, dude, curfew.
He's like, Kenny is stuck in a snowstorm.
the managers are gonna be pissed.
It's like, no, they're not. They don't
They
even
see you, but they
still
never did.
They still thought that we were twins.
Well, they still thought that when you moved out, dude.
That's true.
After you'd lived there for like 2 years.
Yeah. Oh well. They were super excited to see me get married.
Yeah.
They were super pumped about that. Oh, we got hit.
I thought he was gonna start. I remember 'cause I thought he was gonna start on the other side.
Yeah.
And then he tricked me.
And you just oh.
And then I missed the
and then
jump.
you licked the vine on the way down. You're like, tastes like earth.
Delicious.
Candy, look at the
Don't mind.
first page of this comic.
Jenny Panic in the Bible of Dreams, and then to the left of it is Catwoman, the Halle Berry version.
Catwoman.
Does anyone else remember any other Catwoman?
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer. That lady who dressed
I'm
as
honestly
Catwoman
trying to
went
think,
the
and I
director's
don't think I
house.
do.
Anne
Hathaway?
Anne
Oh,
Hathaway
Anne
was
Hathaway,
Catwoman
yeah.
in Dark Knight Rises. It was a
Anne
terrible. Not
Hathaway
only was
was
it a terrible Catwoman, there's literally nothing about her that's Catwoman except for they named her Selena Kyle, and they had her in a little bit of a cat suit.
And the new one is Catwoman.
Yeah, but
Who's that?
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz,
What
yeah.
about the one from Gotham?
Oh yeah, she's great, but
Don't know.
still TV versus movie.
What about the Adam West Catwoman?
Hey, both Adam West Catwomen.
All I remember.
Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt was the one who took over.
Gosh, I
Oh
just
my gosh,
remember-
Eartha Kitt was.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
the quintessential Catwoman.
Bless her heart. Eartha
Do you
Kitt's
survive?
wonderful.
No, I die.
No, he gets.
That's why Yzma looks
Oh,
like
you just
a
beat him.
cat.
Oh, right, there's a purge
It's not
trooper.
why he looks like a cat.
There's a purge trooper.
Yeah.
There's a purge trooper method.
I think all 3 of us put our heads under the wheel that he makes, just like.
That's exactly what happened. Well, I tried to push him off here, it didn't quite work, and then I just get murked.
Yeah, you were like, I'm pretty sure Kenny does this, and if Kenny can do it, anyone can do it. And I'm like, well, that's true. This time you're wrong.
And then I
Also, it takes some sort of like knowing which button does the push.
You also
Yeah.
got.
And I can't remember which
piss
button
kicked
does
out
the
of you
push.
here.
I'm like,
Look at-
okay, I'll run away, regroup, and he's like, I'm just gonna jump attack.
I'm sorry. I just want to make an edit where he's doing that, but from the side because he's marching with his little feet, and it's just way up she raises, way up she raises.
It's right, because I went to Shield.
If you did that,
and
that
then
would be great.
Yes.
Just got stabbed.
I need to have time.
Please
We're
use
about to-
iMovie and do that.
We're about to start freaking next semester.
Yeah, there's going to be no time to edit at all.
It's gonna be barely any time to record.
Are you not in classes right now?
Nah.
No,
we start Monday.
We're all about to die.
Oh, you start Monday. I was wondering why you were here.
It's a Saturday.
I start my new job.
That don't
Not
mean
next,
nothing.
not Monday, but the week after. The
We
week
need to
Congrats.
get a new
Hey,
job.
Yeah,
If anyone
what new
has a
job?
job for
Yamaha.
me.
Oh.
Yeah.
that isn't prostitution.
It's right
And
there.
Or
takes
drug
place
dealing.
at night.
Nah, only just prostitution.
Prostitution's off the
I
table.
think he already has. So Alex did.
What?
I'm the picture of health.
Isn't that who we were talking about? No, it's not that.
I think that is a pitch for prostitution. Check my teeth.
Sex work is real work.
But I would prefer other kinds of work.
I prefer other kinds.
I'm not qualified for sex work.
What?
I have no experience in the field.
Swipe left.
Put that on a Tinder bio.
Get that out of my brain.
Not qualified to be a
Crackers.
prostitute.
Look at this.
Man, you got to be real down
They'd
on
be
your
like,
luck
oh,
if you're
so
not
you have
qualified to be a
herpes.
prostitute.
Yeah.
Nah, you're qualified if you got herpes.
Oh. It's like gonorrhea that qualifies.
Currently,
Cuts you
really it's only monkeypox, but no one seems to care.
Right. Because that's discrimination.
Oh boy. Demonetized, which is impossible to
Shake
do
Shack
when we're not monetized yet.
Yeah, well, you can't get demonetized if you're not monetized.
Keep the crackers down.
I'd just like to say, that guy died.
I would just like to say that it's not my fault that people go monkeypox.
Clearly, I'm not qualified to be a sex worker. Sorry.
So we still you're not a super spreader.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
gosh.
Now, I have some friends I'd like to introduce you to.
I'm not qualified to meet people.
Super spreader sounds like the weirdest parody of a superhero.
CPD is like
It's like a super
CPD
soaker,
is-
but
yeah.
it's a water gun.
Hey, Kiwi found a store that you
It's
guys
the
can
rocket. It's the water gun that killed super soakers, so they're no longer a thing.
Oh my gosh.
You know how sometimes it all takes is one bad movie to sink a whole.
Everybody just
franchise?
gave up on fighting that guy.
Yep.
After I sprinted past him.
Everyone's like, that's an option.
Sorry.
What, so a movie can sink a franchise?
Yeah, it's like that's what happened with the super spreader. Just sunk super soaker.
Insert a string.
It killed all their future clients.
Oh man.
You guys, this cover, if you on the inside it says cut holes and then insert a string for a mask. Walking around the whole comic on
I thought that
That-
was
to
I
be
thought
fair,
that was the Mask comics, and I'm like,
It is
oh boy.
almost Halloween.
The Mask comics, for anyone
Yeah.
who doesn't know,
anyone
Doug
who
Walker,
doesn't
like
know.
the nostalgia critic dude, has a great video talking about like the actual comic book that the Mask movie with Jim Carrey was based off of.
Yeah.
How crazy, like bloody it is.
Jim Carrey's based off the Mask movies.
Well, Jim Carrey is the like real life version of the Mask, so I mean, that
Oh,
one
he
I
was a
can
human,
let
of
go,
course.
but yeah, close, something like it. But no, the Mask movie is based off of a way edgier comic that they completely sanitized, which was probably a good choice.
Teenage
but-
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No,
The
toys came first, and then
The
they
comic
made,
book was first, and the creator of the comic book was actually upset at how they had cleaned up the live action TV show to make it child friendly.
That's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
funny.
the TV show was bad.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
I thought it was a movie.
Yes.
It was, but he was also the cartoon as well.
Oh, hit him in the
Hunter's
hip.
right. He was upset because they made it a kid cartoon. He's like, that's not what this comic book was. It was dark and gritty, and they made it kid friendly.
Oh, Ninja.
I don't.
And now Vanilla Ice is stuck in all our heads.
Yes. Though again, I think it was maybe this video. I don't remember which one. I
I'd
talked
like Vanilla
about,
Ice to pay rent.
I
He can
talked
live
to-
rent free.
but I talked about how in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 live action film, they had the Vanilla Ice song, and the freaking the bodyguards for Vanilla Ice got so pushy with the extras in the film that they started an on-set brawl with the people in the Ninja Turtles costumes and Vanilla Ice's bodyguards, which I wish I could see. I want to see that.
Should I pause it?
Sorry, you call me?
Should I pause it?
Oh, should I pause it? Nah, I'm sure we'll be good. I'll be out for a second, though.
Okay.
Excuse Kenny, he has to go say hi to his wife.
It's reasonable.
Contrary to popular belief, we are not the love of his life.
Look at that.
You are missing the
Enjoy.
glitching body, though, Kenny.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
The glitching body that you spend
Oh,
like 5 minutes
yeah.
focusing on.
It's like stuck in a dream.
I'm sorry, what was that? Oh my. Thanks for repeating.
You're welcome.
Just do what we can.
So are we gonna hear about, you know,
Nope.
Or is that
Not with the
Not on
recording.
content.
Alright. Apparently I can't tell you until after they're done with their little video.
And we also
It's
have
not
Pokemon after this.
Hi! Now we have to set Pokemon. Let's go.
We'll take a-
Pokemon, gotta catch
We'll take a
'em.
small break before
That
Pokemon.
people with the lightsaber. Don't worry, you caught it right before. What's that?
Are you sure you don't teach choir?
Oh.
Just-
I try to, but none of my kids signed up for it, so it's more like I just sing at them.
You will listen and you
We're
will
gonna
like it.
math.
If you want to pass this class, you will accept my singing.
If you want to pass math, you better learn this cool dance I just made up. And they're like, please, no.
It's like, no, I saw this in The Sound of Music. It works. Trust me.
Oh, equations are alive when you find the variable. There's there. I love the fact that you're laughing, but we're not on camera, so it just sounds like dead silence after I said that, because you're over here shaking. Let the record state that at least one person laughed. Ha ha ha. Wow, you guys have very interesting conversations when Kenny's not around.
We were listening to you making fun of your sister.
I'm dead inside.
Hey, yeah, you should have seen the recording we did when Kitty was gone for the wedding. Wasn't our best. It was
Yeah.
okay. Spider-Man was okay.
I got a lot of cuts.
Where do you
But
guys-
Harry-
you guys just what comes with the trading
Cohesive
card.
conversation, dead. Small jokes, alive.
Yeah, small jokes were on point.
Hunter, if you want to talk, get in camera.
I thought you were. Excuse you.
No, there's a camera
You're
right
about to sit down. Why would I get in camera?
Look at it.
Yeah, to be fair, I did have her take your guys' spot when you figured out what happened with the mill.
And literally.
And then you guys stopped recording.
Like,
I was like, go ahead, take their spot.
10 seconds later. Pick a lane, Kenny, and stay in it. Look, I got a card for Hellfire.
I have
Is
no
that
clue.
good?
The
Are
gleeful
you-
young
what
man
is that?
named
Are you
Hellfire.
Esmeralda?
Is that like an
You have been
X-Men?
accepted for Hellfire.
Okay.
It's the Disney
Is that
version of
from
Dante's Inferno.
The
sixth
Hellboy
level,
comics?
Hellfire.
Nope.
Hellfire? It's Hunchback of Notre Dame.
No, not the song. the
Pretty sure
guy.
Hellfire is actually a D&D spell.
It's also a thing they've done in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That actually just proves my point.
Yeah, I
on-
know. I know. I'm saying they involved the D&D thing about Hellfire and they made like a Hellfire.
I was making a joke. I don't even know if Hellfire is a D&D spell or not.
Dude,
I'm
I
sure it is.
couldn't tell you a thing about it.
If not, someone's homebrewed it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously. Everyone's homebrewed.
Homebrewed it, I'm pretty sure. Why not call it like
I've
moonshine
homebrewed
bit?
things and I don't even play D&D.
I think homebrew is another way to say made it up.
Moonshine involves creating alcohol, which is too cool for people that play D&D.
You're right.
Yeah.
Homebrew is more of a coffee feel.
Exactly.
Or I guess in their
Which-
world, Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Or
Dorito do.
just
And the
when you go to
Slinkies.
the soda fountain, you put in all the different flavors.
Oh,
Some
suicide.
suicide.
Okay, you guys call
Please,
it
the
suicide.
got it. Soda fountain.
That's what we call that.
Gosh,
That's what you're talking
dang
about.
it. That was hot.
You know, like the talking about.
And I just spilled.
Hooray!
Yay.
It's not going my
Well.
time to not be in camera, but be a disembodied voice off screen.
I know my head's going to be in there while I clean, but guess what? I don't want it to stain my carpet.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, you idiot. Kenny, I bought the bonsai tree.
You bought a bonsai tree?
I bought the bonsai tree.
A bonsai tree?
The
What,
only one in the whole
The!
The one that Master
Oh, the
Boy
Lego
dies
bonsai.
under?
The Lego one.
Cool.
Oh.
And it comes with pink cherry blossoms. Sakura. You guys are on different songs. But the way he said Sakura sounds like Adam West.
So cool.
That's what the cherry blossoms are.
Yeah.
Would anybody else like to go
Also,
to
major
the
character
Sakura
very
Festival?
You know, well, that would have.
Not everything is about Naruto!
For as big as the
No,
news
but
I
like
am,
you guys are the ones
Holy
saying.
Sakura Batman!
This is a hot mess, by the way. I've spilled crap over here. The conversation is completely derailed in every possible way.
It has not.
I mean, to be fair,
Great
when we're doing a
conversation.
voiceover, that's
You're
what we
just not a
expect.
part of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
What did you say?
So Kenny's
I
trying
said,
to
well, we do a voiceover.
burn
That's what
some
we.
ropes.
Why are you so offended at everything?
Because the last time you were like, we're going to edit Hunter out. And then you edited me out of the video.
Well-
and so I'm a little sensitive. You come to my home. You watch...
Technically, he
You
came
were
to my
actively
home, and we
threatening.
just happened to have the same home.
When? Just now?
No.
When he was like, I'm going to edit you out.
There were multiple things. First off, you had a whole side conversation going, using our audio, and you also threatened me with bodily harm.
Okay,
Using
but you
my-
threatened everybody with bottle harm. And that's
I was gonna say, the
you're
first one is really the
defend
sin.
yourself.
Well, no, the other one is also, it was a live recording when she did that, so that's where it's like, no.
Okay.
Miss Hazelnut.
Oh, I got it. So, a live recording, I can't threaten you, but right now I could?
Yeah,
No.
because this one we can stop and give to the police.
Yeah. Specifically with firearms.
Hey, do you want me to kill that
Because
guy?
YouTube is really strict on firearms.
I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything about firearms.
You
So
did.
do they really hate that
Well,
dude from Sky High?
What?
War and Peace?
Stop it right now.
Thank you.
Stop
What
it
the
right
heck?
now.
Do you not remember Sky High?
He's always like, let's watch
I've,
Sky High.
I've watched, I've seen it
I
once.
feel like the only reason you remember Sky High is because Kurt Russell's in it.
Yes.
What's
Anyone
wrong with your
remembers.
face?
Also, fun fact, Gus's dad in Psych, I forgot it was Keith David. Keith David keeps popping up in everything that I'm watching, and I love him. Yeah,
You've been watching Sky
his
High.
voice started, he started speaking, and I was like,
That's wild.
that's the dude from Gargoyles.
Also,
his most famous
Goliath?
role.
I don't know if you've watched Sky High enough to ever watch the bonus features, but apparently the kid that played War and Peace was like the one all the girl actresses wanted to be with.
Of course.
And the guy who
Daniel
played the main
Penn
guy, like after he would kiss the girls, he would like high five them. And on the bonus features, they were like, oh yeah, he was kind of unpopular with the ladies because he would high five them after kissing scenes. And all the girls liked War and Peace, and I was like, as like a 12-year-old, I was like, why is this on the bonus features? Like, what the heck? I just remember.
Why do you need to know?
Like, this, and it was like, I'm pretty
By
sure
the
like
way,
one
plot
of the
is
Panabaker
happening,
girls
I'm sure.
was on there.
Yeah,
I don't
in
know, it was really
Cordova, it
funny.
doesn't matter. No one cares about it.
I will say my favorite times watching Avatar: The Last Airbender is when Nickelodeon did
What
the
a
fun
concept.
facts.
Yeah.
So talk about just going with the behind the scenes or whatever. Nickelodeon used to do reruns, and they'd have like fun facts of behind the scenes as
Yeah,
you're watching it.
which I hugely miss, by the way. Nickelodeon kind of blows chunks, and it has for probably the last 10 years, but...
Since Avatar ended.
07? This
Yeah.
one?
I didn't actually have Nickelodeon growing up. I just saw it occasionally at my grandparents' house, and sometimes it was on.
How's
I
that
have
way?
Garfield.
I mean, he had like
That was
Boomerang, right?
I had Boomerang.
Not at my house.
Freaking love Boomerang.
I had 30 channels growing up, and 5 of them were the info whatever sales channels.
Yeah.
Where it's just nothing but shopping.
Where it was just someone who looked just a little too much like Martha Stewart for it to be coincident, selling you some sort of food processor. Yeah. A lot of our channels were that too.
To be fair, that is how my mom found out about Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
What?
I'm sorry, I thought you were
Alright.
going to say...
Alright.
One, that's a weird enough anecdote for its own
Siberian
separate
Orchestra.
story, but at the same time, I totally thought you were going to say, like, transsexual issues. And I was like, holy shit!
No, that was
What are
PBS.
they selling on that channel?
Oh,
Extra
this is
dial.
what I got off because I got a phone call from my bank saying my credit or my debit card was stolen.
Yeah.
What? Out of my way, give away about to get it. My identity's been stolen.
But Trans-Siberian Orchestra is a really cool band if you guys haven't
Mhm.
heard them.
Yeah.
But
But I was just
my mom was scrolling
blown
through,
away.
and that's how she found out, like, because they were selling their CDs. Like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. What is it? Anyway, now we listen to it every Christmas.
Dude, I haven't felt so... I felt so weird finding out that, like, a lot of the Electric Light Orchestra songs that you probably know,
Yellow.
Mr. Blue
Yeah.
Sky, Strange Magic, a bazillion of those are all from, like, 1979.
Really?
Yeah, they're essential. Like the best of Electric Light Orchestra is from 1979. I was just looking at, like, some of this does not feel right.
So what do we
None
learn
of
from
this
this?
has been written since.
Everything after 1985 in music was a waste and unnecessary.
Billy Joel was still around after '85.
Yeah, but did he put out any good songs after 85?
I don't know when he released the song, so I can't say. But I listen to a lot of Billy Joel.
Let me just take a
But
long
you should,
sip of my
you
hot
should have seen
chocolate.
Kitty's face. He's like, wait a minute, he might be right.
I don't know Billy Joel's release dates.
I'm sure I've said this basically every video, but Spotify tried to predict my age with my music and put me in the old folks category. In reality, what they actually said was, what was it? Adult songs or something like that. Adult themed songs, something like that. I was like, I'm not listening to the 50 Shades soundtrack or something like that. I'm confused what this means. So I looked it up and was like, it means you're old as dirt. Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Throw in some Johnny Cash, some people older than Johnny Cash, and big band.
Yep.
We know that your kid or grandkid set up this account for you.
He listens to a lot of Scott Joplin. He's an old dude. Shut up. I like rap.
This will be really popular in the nursing home you're in.
They're like, the newest thing he's been listening to recently is David Bowie. Oh, man. Also, one of the few, because currently, as we are filming this, there's a whole lot of, have both of you heard anything about the whole, like, Don't Worry, Darling movie? With, like, a huge amount of controversy over that?
Yeah, because of Harry Styles and what's her face.
Yeah.
And you're
Florence
just Pine?
Pew.
First off, why would you cheat on Chris Pine with Harry Styles?
No. Jason Sudeikis.
Oh, Jason
Sudeikis, yeah.
What?
The guy from Ted
Ted
Lasso.
Lasso.
What?
No, I thought that was her ex, and she's currently with Chris Pine.
No, she's currently with
Oh.
Harry Styles.
What?
She's been with Harry Styles for a while.
Anyways, we are not going to get all the way into this one because basically nobody in this house keeps track of Hollywood gossip with a fine-tooth comb.
Except for the fact the Queen died.
It's not
Who cares
Hollywood.
about that?
The
What does she
entirety
ever
of
do?
England bears upon this home to kill time.
I know. The last
What are they going to
I
do? I'm
saw
an American. I've already beaten them.
I saw something that said Betty White 99, Queen 96. We win again.
Oh, man. No, the worst thing about the Queen dying, really, is the fact
that people are like,
I know, I just got the biggest,
I was
feeling
concerned
of
about where
foreboding
Hunter was
by-
going to go. I was concerned about where you're going to go, Kitty.
Sorry.
So, Kitty, no.
Okay, alright, fine. Plan B. One of the worst things.
Okay.
Here we see censorship in real time.
Oh, boy. But no, it does mean that now that Queen Elizabeth has died, it's one of the, I believe the last remaining British person that non-British people liked. So I guess that means the entirety of Britain now is on everybody's hate list.
That's
And-
not
That's not
We
true.
still like
Julie Andrews is a treasure.
And also
You're
the,
right.
the original cast of Top Gear.
Alright, I think the Top Gear
Understandable.
cast is hilarious.
Yeah, no, I have yet to meet a single person that doesn't like them.
Oh, man. Oh, who's that? Is that dude also on Top Gear? It's the,
The Stig.
Yes. Yeah. Flippin'.
His name is The Stig.
Yeah, so he wears a helmet and his identity isn't allowed to be known. Evidently, they've had to switch him like 3 times because someone found out his identity.
The Stig
going
is
to do
basically
their,
like the biker version. Not biker, but basically the dressed up version of the Blue Man Group. You can swap anybody in there because, I mean, the costume stays the same.
They use him to do track times, basically, and to keep it consistent so he didn't feel pressured, they kept his identity secret, and also it's just a running gag.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like Daft Punk.
Yeah,
I
like
actually
Daft
watched
Punk.
Top Gear.
Except with more staying power.
There's no one
Ouch.
has more.
Hey,
staying
everybody
power than
watched
Tom.
that Tron movie that came
Yeah.
out in 2014.
I still listen to the soundtrack.
No,
Tron Legacies?
2011.
It was 2011.
Yeah, Kiwi was still in high school.
You know,
No, I wasn't in high school in 2011. I was
that
still.
de-aging CG is still embarrassing, even though it came out in 2011. It's really bad. Oh yeah, by the way, the next 15 minutes will be me running in this circle because I can't figure out a simple puzzle.
So you'd be really bad at Pokemon. In the ice. Like, gyms.
Oh, the ice caves. In every freaking generation, they have to have one bit where you just slide all the way around. So annoying.
Can't wait to do that.
Didn't it used to be the Team
That'd be so
Rocket
great.
base where they had the conveyor belts or whatever that would launch you?
Or the
Oh
teleporters.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
generator. Like it was an energy plant, a power plant that had Zapdos in it.
Hey, Alex, do you like military stuff?
Define what you mean before I give a yes or a no.
Alex thinking
I
about
thought
the
this
legal
thinking it was
lawsuits.
a comment, but it's not a comment.
Sure, I'll take it.
Okay.
Winning in
Thank
the,
you.
is it written by? It's called Winning in the Desert. Is it written by Bear Grylls or is it written by like a former?
It's
Marine?
actually Army manual for
Operation Desert Storm.
Whoa.
Oh dear heaven.
Yeah.
Cool.
So fun fact, when the M16 first came out in the Vietnam War, they had a hard time with the jamming because it's the M16 and it was the first iteration of it.
It was
So to teach the troops how to clean it, they actually made a comic book on full disassembly and assembly to keep the parts clean.
It was basically
The M16
the
was
military
awesome.
version of duck and cover. You had to have a nice little graphic showing you how to
It
do
wasn't
exactly what you
awful, but it was made by people in the laboratories who never tested it in the jungle.
Yeah.
It-
was awful
and
for
it
what
was-
it was supposed to do.
What
Yeah.
was it like?
Well, because
It was something like 55% of deaths within a certain range of year in Vietnam. Like
Were
they
caused
had
because of the
they had
M16.
jammed guns by their
Yeah.
side. Like it
They,
was
they had their
terrible.
gun partially ripped apart, and then they were killed.
Yeah. Sorry, that brought down the mood a huge amount.
Listen
You're
to the Cold War, What We Saw.
By Bill
I'm
Will,
actually planning on
Esoteric
listening to
Radio
that with my
Theater.
brother on
It's
the way
great.
back home next week.
It's
when
so
we
good.
When we go home to watch Sabaton with my family.
Awesome.
Speaking of
Sabaton sounds like the heretical version of Megatron.
You're not wrong.
Like the Antichrist version of Megatron.
Their whole thing is they make songs about historical wars.
That's
Yes.
They're actually I really like their sound.
Pretty
It's I guess it'd be orchestral rock.
Sweet.
Yeah, orchestral rock's cool.
But yeah. 10 out of 10 would recommend. That is one of the phrases your brother has slipped in our vocabulary.
He's like, oh, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
And it just never left.
100%.
Yeah, it's, I believe mine is the, 100%, and JD's is, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which means the exact same freaking thing, but as always, we have to be just slightly different enough to be annoying.
Slightly different enough so people don't think you're twins.
Except
Well,
we
that
still
doesn't
do.
seem to help. Except for they usually can confuse us for a gay couple. My brother is about 5 inches shorter than me and like stick thin, and I am, well, obviously not.
To be fair, when he poofs up his
5
hair, he's
inches
the same
short?
height.
It's true. When he gets his Andrew Garfield from the Amazing Spider-Man hair, it allows him to be pretty close in height to me. But yeah, no, we ran into, I know I've told the story before, but we ran into, he used to teach martial arts at this one studio, and he had this kid's dad come up to him while he and I were out grocery shopping at a local Fred Meyer. And the guy came up, saw JD, and he's just like, hey, like, it's so good to see you. Yeah, and your boyfriend. I believe I'm 16 at the time. So if I was his boyfriend, we would be in a whole lot of legal trouble for 2 reasons. But yeah, we got a couple of times. We got told once at a McDonald's that they were so proud of us for coming out and being brave. Like,
Thanks. It does take a lot to
by
come
eating
out and
flapjacks
be
at your local
pure.
McDonald's at 11 a.m.
Wait, you went to McDonald's for breakfast and not the flapjacks?
Why?
Because pancakes
Do
are
you
right.
hate
Get the
yourself?
oatmeal,
But
dude.
McDonald's pancakes.
Listen,
If I
sometimes all you have are the option of McDonald's pancakes or no pancakes,
Actually,
and so you take the pancakes.
I've never
Did
had
you
a
tell me
situation.
about the plan to watch a movie tomorrow?
Yeah, we should watch the movie tomorrow.
Okay, it's been
Oh,
told.
thank you. You know, some of us have a large social, so I'll be there.
My thought was, you have a waffle bowl maker, I have a waffle bowl maker, pancake mix.
Wait, what?
We won't have waffle bowls?
So we put the waffle bowls on top of each other, so
What's
they create
a
a little
waffle bowl?
capsule.
It's a bowl.
I want
It's
you
a
to
bowl
take
made of
one
waffle.
guess.
Made of waffle.
I want you to take one guess as to what a waffle bowl
Put
is.
a waffle. Oh.
But my thought is, if you have eggs,
Buy some
I can bring some
strawberries
broth
and
so we
stuff,
can make
like,
basically eggs and sausage,
like a fruit bowl.
put them in the waffle bowls.
I want to make a tarte tatin.
I have no clue
What
what that is.
movie?
We have not decided yet.
Are we finally
Give
going to
me
get to
3
watch
months
Over the
and I'll
Garden Wall
understand
with me?
France.
It's
It's almost
basically a
Halloween.
fruit pastry
That'll be
where you
Halloween.
cook it upside down in like caramel.
We just bought it.
You make the caramel
Is
as
it?
you're like soaking in like the fruits and stuff that are on
I
top of
know.
the pastry. And so when you
Oh,
flip it
that's
over,
disgusting.
the caramel like drips out.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
that's
what
nothing
this
to do
is,
with
but I just bought it because I-
You're not wrong, but
So
come on.
curious.
Also, while we were stuck in D.C. a ton, we got through an entire season of MasterChef.
What?
So,
Dang, dude. Oh, you want to tell your airplane
Oh my
story? This is
gosh.
about when you started last time.
I got distracted by staying alive
so
either.
my wife and I were going to her sister's wedding, or her sealing in Washington D.C. So we had basically no time, and every time that we had a little bit of non-scheduled moments, we got called up by them being like, hey, do you want to go do this? And they were like, we have free food. And we were like, well, I guess everything's $15 per person here, so yes, I do want free food. Also, her now father-in-law makes absolutely delicious Peruvian food, so absolutely worthwhile. Oh man, but we had basically no time to go sightseeing. And our flight, at the end of our trip, we had a flight that we had to get to the airport by 11 because they just suddenly, without telling us, Frontier Airlines had moved our flight a half hour early. So we had to get there by 11. We found this out at 10:30, and because our flight was somewhere in the ballpark of like 12:30 to 1. So we managed to get there in time. We stopped the little bit of sightseeing we could. We were at the Korean War Memorial at the time. Super cool. So we had to go away from the stuff that I was super interested in. I'm a history buff, so I was absolutely loving this. And we had to get ripped away from it in order to get onto the airport suddenly. We got there. So the Ronald Reagan Airport is this massive marble, like ionic pillars in the front with a sort of very Walt Disney-esque statue of Ronald Reagan in the front, kind of going like, you know, you just needed Mickey Mouse in the corner and it would have worked. And so it's gorgeous. It's phenomenal. And then right to the left of it is this small circle of airport gates that Frontier Airlines comes out of. It's a small shack off to the side. So we did not get to go into the proper airport. So we get in there. We managed to get to our gate by like 11:30 or something like that. We're like, yeah, we're on time. We're doing great. We've got like 40 minutes before we board. This is good. Also, what we have here is you have your TSA checking station. Then you walk down a hallway that has like a Dunkin' Donuts Express and just lines of like Lay's chips where you can check out. I don't know why nobody steals them because they're not behind any covers or anything like that. It's just imagine the airport.
Because they've been here since 1975.
Yeah, but you could just take it. It's $3 for a
They're
small bag of
actively
chips.
deflated chips.
They're dead chips. But so we got ourselves some overpriced chips and we sat down and waited.
Pay for the chips.
No.
Jeez. But so we got to the the gates, and what it was a little miniature bar right in the center, and then much like the radial design of Disneyland, it's just a small circle with gates popping up, about 6 of them total, almost all of them Southwest, and one of them Frontier Airlines. So we're like, we're pretty sure where we know we're going, and they're just like, okay, for the 15th time, if you have not paid for your carry-on luggage, like, do it now. And like they have signs that's like, don't be a weasel, don't try to sneak on personal bags, like extra personal items. I'm like, oh my goodness, we are on the cheapest air flight we could find. So we sit there. At the time that the plane was supposed to have left, about 12:30 to 1, they have lined us all up, just without respect for zones, except for the first boarding people. Mm-hmm. So we keep seeing the airline crew come in and out of the plane, and that's never a good sign, right? And so we get a little bit worried until they finally, like almost an hour after we were supposed to have boarded, they finally take all of the people who were supposed to be on the plane an hour ago, and they put the first flight passengers on there. And they do that. And then we wait for another half hour, all of us in this just giant line with no word about what's going on. Suddenly, the people who were on the plane are now off the plane. They get out. And at that point, you do realize you should have just sat down and kept watching MasterChef. And so they go over the speakers and they're like, well, okay, so we've got a cargo latch that isn't completely closing. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I want to get home. I'm exhausted. I am tired. I've got a 6-hour layover still. So please, give me a piece of plywood from Home Depot and a couple of nails. I will nail it shut, and we can fly, because it's nothing to do with the main hold. It's just the cargo hold. So we'll get it.
Yeah, it's just stuff. We don't need our stuff.
They're like, everybody sit down, just make yourselves comfortable, have a drink. In an hour or so, we'll get that cargo hold all fixed up and ready for you guys. I'm like, sweet. Well, that takes one of my hours out of, I guess now my second hour out of my my layover, so that's great for me. So we take a seat down, and then we 3 hours pass. And they finally get over the intercom, and they're like, so the people whose connecting flights they've already missed, who wants to just get rerouted back to San Francisco? Fred? San Francisco? Completely the opposite where I want to go, by the way. And so almost everybody raises their hands except for the people who were originally supposed to actually fly out to Salt Lake, which was our destination. So a quarter of the flight is remaining. And they're like, you know, give us another hour. So we wait another hour. We have been at the airport for 4 to 5 hours at this point. Suddenly, somebody stands up with those heavy hooded eyes of, I'm a customer service rep and I know I'm about to get just thrashed by a large group of angry people. It's like, oh, doggy. It's like, well, the flight's been canceled. sorry to have wasted your entire day. If you want a refund, we've sent you an email. So you can get a refund here. And by refund, they mean they will refund you the base fare of the ticket, which normally is expected, you get that. However, you had the choice to either move to a different flight or get refunded. Those were your two options. You did not get both. And also, the refund, because it was only the base ticket, Frontier Airlines charges through the nose for all the processing fees and for the baggage. So our flight cost us about $550 for the two of us. Really good price, right? However, the base fare of it was $260. So almost $300 we would not have recouped. They just would have flipped us off and been like, have a great day. Go look at the rest of the airport. Like, that was their choice. And so we're like, okay. Then we see it on the sign. Suddenly the flight says, hey, by the way, there's a flight coming in. It is now 5 to 5:30. At 6:47, we're flying out to Colorado, where you were going to go to originally. Anyways, that was where your connecting is. By the way, your connecting flight, because it leaves at 10 o'clock, you can still make it. I was like, sweet, this is perfect, this is everything I wanted. I'm like, fine, I'll get swapped over there. And we get in this massive line that has not moved, by the way. Since she said, by the way, like, who wants to change their transfer? So those guys are also stuck in the line. So everybody's lined up. And suddenly, over the counter, she's like, if anyone's got any ideas about flying out tonight, don't. We have no room on the inn. Like, go away. So we walk back through security, we grab our bags, we have to set up a night at a hotel and get food, and the next flight is at 7 o'clock in the morning, so we call and we get that set up. And so, while I'm calling, I'm like, okay, please, like, we have to now pay for, like, room and board and food. Like, do you have any credit or anything to help out? And they're like, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. We don't do that. We would recommend stay in the hotel, stay in the airport. And I look around at the small Disneyland circle that I am in, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm not staying here for any more time. We're all crammed in a small room anyway. And so, thankfully, my father-in-law, because he travels a lot, he had like credits that we got our hotel room in, which is super sweet of him. Our flight's at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, alright, time to wake up at like 4 o'clock, get ready, get to the airport, because it takes 30 minutes to drive 3 miles. So, this is the plan. My wife wakes me up with panic in her eyes at 7:32 a.m. We have missed our flight. And so, everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong already at this point. We have not had, like, legitimate food for ages. And we're very cranky. And so we're like, okay, fine, I call up. And, by the way, she calls us up at 7:32. And Mountain Time, 6 a.m., is when they start having customer service deal with people. So we had to wait a full 30 minutes of just stewing there like, oh my gosh, I'm 2,000 miles away from home. What am I going to do to get home? And how much are they going to charge me? Yup. And so we're just sitting there like, what do we do? So, half hour passes. We finally get to call. And he's just like, well, seems like it's your fault. I'm like, okay, look,
yeah,
ish. But the entire reason why we got this swapped over was because you guys canceled the flight 5 hours after we were supposed to have been there. So we wasted our entire day, we wasted a bunch of money, and now we're trying to get on a flight, and we've missed it. What can you, like, is there anything that can be done? He's like, well, I can change your flight. Really? If I didn't think you could do that, I wouldn't have called you. He's like, okay, the next flight's like 11:30, it'll be like $200 to swap everything over. So I have to hand over $200 because we slept in by a half hour. And so I hand that over. We get to the airport, and we have to wait for like 2 or 3 hours in that airport before our flight finally takes off. And we get into Colorado to connect from Denver to Salt Lake City. And the captain, as we're landing, goes, great news! We hit a tailwind the entire time. So actually, our flight got in 40 minutes earlier than expected. We had already had a 7-hour layover that was expected that day, and it has now turned into about an 8-hour and 15-minute layover that we are stuck in the Denver airport. And so for the rest of our Sunday, I have to call and cancel, like, coming into work the next day. We have to change a couple of things, and we get in at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had to wait in the frickin' airport for 8 hours and change in order to take a 50-minute connecting flight from Denver to Salt Lake City. So we get in there, and like I am at my wit's end. I have had no sleep for the last like 5 days, and I'm like, I just want to like go to my grandma's home, like sleep there for the evening, and then, you know, just call it quits. Drive back home, relax. And the very last thing is that for some reason the Salt Lake City airport, now that they've remodeled it, so you've got the private place where you get picked up, and you've got the Uber rideshare bus lane. These are separated by a brick wall, so you cannot get from one to another. You have to go back into the airport, go all the way up, over a glass bridge, go all the way back down for the equivalent of 25 feet. Just to trade over.
I will say Kenny's time was almost perfectly for ending.
Kenny has time, yeah. But yeah, that was our adventures, and it was
All for a wedding.
all for a wedding. That went off great, by the way. Wedding was wonderful. Oh my god.
Speaking of weddings, Ty, how was your day?
Great.
He didn't get married, by the way.
No, I didn't.
He went to
Could you imagine? Sorry, honey, I gotta go do electric play.
All I could
Well,
imagine
I
is him
messed up
having
the
like
audio,
a
so-
diamond ring on his hand without telling anybody, just sitting here.
He's over the day. He's a rockin' twin. Comes in here.
He's like, my wife's got a wonderful band.
Yeah, she proposed.
Glad you know. She had to propose a couple of times.
All right.
Let's keep